All right, let's then start today's session. Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. On behalf of CSI SB MBCET and IEEE Computer Society Student Branch MBCET, I warmly welcome all of you into today's session, Beyond the Draft, a guide to effective research paper writing. We know that research is not just about having innovative ideas, it's about communicating those ideas effectively. Whether you are writing your first research paper or looking to improve your academic writing skills, understanding the process of writing, reviewing, and publishing is essential for every aspiring researcher. And today's session is designed to guide you through this journey, helping you understand the best practices in research paper writing and providing valuable insights into the academic publishing process. Today, we are delighted to have Dr. Lanny Matthew, Associate Professor at Marbeselis College of Engineering and Technology, as our resource person for the session. We are grateful to her for taking the time to share her knowledge and expertise with us. Without further delay, let's begin our session. And Lanny, Miss, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Miss. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I'm so glad to see all of you. It's we have come to the end of our semester break, and I'm glad to see that some of you joined. So we will not delay further, and let's start. Okay. So how many of you know what this session is about? The topic is Beyond the Draft, a guide to effective research paper writing. Okay, so but I'd like to see some responses. So are you all from the final year, or are you from the third year, second year? Some responses. Okay. I hope all of you had breakfast in the morning. Okay, so I can see only one response till now. Okay. Yes. All right. Christine. Okay. All right. So yeah. So we've got a lot of second years and third years. Okay. So were there any final years? Not yet. Okay. Okay. So I think the request for this session came from final years, but maybe they're all picking up and joining. That's okay. Let's proceed. Okay. So how many of you have what different interests, and how many of you have worked on projects? So I know because most of you are from second year and third year, some of you will not have even thought of a project till now. Okay, so but we all know that we have different interests, right? Like photography and writing and coding and chess, gaming, of course, yoga and cycling. Okay, so many interests are there among all of us, right? Now, if you already have done work, like for example, like in our fourth year, our final year students, many of them have already done a mini project, and it is like they already have a report, and they have to convert their reports into a conference paper. But many of you are from second year, some of you are from third year. Okay, so many of you may have already thought of a project, maybe you already have an idea, but some of you may not have even thought of it till now. But I'm sure that all of us have some kind of an interest or the other. Okay, so any interest that you have can be considered as going to be a future project for each of you. Okay, all right, understood till here? Okay, so these are different possibilities of interest, and then we can think of ideas. Okay, now all of us know the very famous ad by the Idea telecommunication network in 2006. Okay, maybe before you were born and all. Okay, so this particular phrase, okay, this catchphrase was something very nice at that time, with a few very thought-provoking, simple ideas that were changing people's lives. Okay, so based on your interests, you may have lots of ideas, and those ideas could potentially make huge changes to the lives of you, okay, yourself and people around you. Okay, so these ideas are what we later consider to be projects, or it is good if something that you're passionate about can be converted to a future project. Okay, when you are working towards becoming an engineer. Okay, so have you all? So I'm sure all of you have an idea in your mind, or if you do not have an idea already, you can think about it. Okay. Now, once you have the idea, I hope all of you will take it. Okay, or you can think of it and work on your ideas also. Okay, so some of you, like, because we have second years, third years, and maybe fourth years also in this group, we have a varied, okay, a varying level in which each of you will be working on. Okay, so now suppose you have, or you will be working on your ideas. Then after that, okay, or at the start itself, there is something that we have to think about. Okay, as Josh said in his introduction, we may all have wonderful ideas, and we may all also work on it, and maybe we have created something new also. Okay, now there are two possibilities. Okay, one possibility is, you can, if your idea is really innovative, okay, and you can show your teachers and get it validated and all, and after that some of them may suggest, okay, that you have to go for a patent. Okay, but some ideas may not be patentable. There is something very close to it already in the market, but yours has a potential, yours is a really good work. They may say, okay, it may not go for a patent, but it should be published. Okay, sometimes your peers or your mentors or your guides, they may say, okay, and sometimes it is very necessary also. Maybe if it's your mini project or your final year project that you're going to work on, a publication is almost mandatory today. Okay, why is that so important? Do you know why? So we have an idea, okay, we work on an idea, and then why should we consider, or why should we convert our ideas, okay, which we've translated to projects, why should we publish them? Any idea from you? Any thoughts on it? I can see the chat messages now. I would like some inputs from you. You can also speak if you want. Why should we convert our ideas, okay, which are translated to projects? Why should we convert them to IEEE papers, or IEEE or any conference paper? No responses? Why is it important? No one has an idea. No one knows why ideas need to be converted to papers. Is that true? Okay, so I think we have to think a little bit about this. Okay, so if we have an, if we, yes, so it can be useful in society, correct? Yes, Amit. Thank you for the for the response. Anyone else? Okay, so once we publish, the thing is that once we publish a paper, that can be read by other people, and they can get new ideas from them, and slowly over a period of time, your small idea which you had made into a project, may slowly over the years be taken up by people all over the globe. Okay, and they may be converted into really good products also, which are useful in society. Okay, so that is why it is so important that we convert our ideas to projects first and then to some papers. Now, there are other things also. Okay, there are different kinds of IEEE papers which we'll see. Okay, we'll see soon. Now, what are the steps in this? Okay, we'll just see. Okay. Oh no. Yes. Okay, so identifying a problem. Okay, that's the first thing. Identifying a problem, identifying your interest, then identifying a problem, and then studying existing work, literature, studying existing work, papers that are published by other people. Okay, going through them. Okay, having a literature review, finding somewhere where research is lacking or the research says that there is some issue somewhere, okay, finding a gap there, okay, somewhere where you can contribute. Then define how much you can contribute and then do some project, okay, validate experimentally, etc. All right. So these are the steps in which we convert our ideas to an IEEE paper. Now, as I said, many of you, many of you are from second years, many of you, some of you are from third years and final years also. So some of you might already have identified a problem. You may already have completed your literature review. Okay, you might already have your project ready also. So in that case, okay, in that case, you are ready to write your paper. Now, sometimes you may, since there are many first years, sorry, second years and third years here, you may have to, or you may be just starting, okay, and some of you, while preparing for the IEEE conference paper writing, again you may have to do a little bit of literature review fresh. Now, how can you do the search? Okay, what we usually do, like, can you give some interest that you are that, so any of you, okay, you can all just give me some inputs on your interest areas in the chat box. Okay, nanotechnology by Abhav. Yes. Embedded systems by Fiza. Anyone else? Robotics by Amit. Okay, so we have three different areas, right? So I'll just switch my tab. Okay, I'll just move to the browser. Can you all see my screen? Okay, so I took nanotechnology. Okay, yes, thanks for the response. Okay, I took nanotechnology and I just did a Google search. Okay, nanotechnology. So we have an AI overview, we have Wikipedia entries, we have many government websites, okay, lots of things, videos, all of these are there. So is this going to be part of your official literature review? Can you take any of these? What do you think? Okay, so some of you may like chess, some of you may like cycling. Okay, all of these are potential areas that you can work on. Okay, project areas. Okay, nanotechnology is something core. Okay, then embedded systems, they're all core things, and there are lots of possibilities. There are also other possibilities like cycling and your cricket. Okay, so many possibilities for your projects and your gaming and your football, everything. Okay, so but if I just do a Google search or any other kind of search, I'm going to get a lot of details, but I may not be able to consider them to be part of my literature review because websites like Wikipedia, they cannot be considered as proper references. They are very good for us to read and understand and explore more and more. Okay, so how do we do the literature review? That's our question. Okay, so what I recommend is go for Google Scholar. Okay, have you heard of this? Google Scholar? Have you all heard of this site? Yes, I can see that some responses. Yes. Okay, so we go to Google Scholar. Simply, simply type Google Scholar in your browser. Yeah, in Google Scholar. Okay, this is Google Scholar, and you can you can type whatever you want. Okay, nanotechnology. Okay, in medicine, anything. Okay, any area that you want. Okay, yeah. So here you can see that only the relevant literature is what comes up. Okay, we do not have links to shopping and Wikipedia or anything. These are all proper papers. Okay, so this is something very important. All of us, if we are thinking of a project, okay, you should always go to a place like Google Scholar or IEEE Explore. Okay, these are all very valid sites, and they will IEEE Explore is going to collect data only from the IEEE database, whereas there are other good publishing houses also, which can be or which should be read. Okay, like the journals like yeah, Sage Pub is there, Cambridge, MBPI, all of these and good books are also there. Okay, so these can all be referred to, or you can put them, you can put references to these in your paper, okay, in your conference paper or wherever you want to publish. Okay, so how do we do that? Do we go for the oldest or do we go for the latest? What is usually done? What do you think? Oldest papers, the core things, the core technologies, or something latest? I need your response. It's already 11:23. I don't want to keep you hungry or anything, and we've got some slides to cover. Okay, so we usually go for the latest ones. Okay, I'm giving you the answer, but why? Why don't we go to the original technology that was there? Why can't we go 10 years behind? Any idea? No, no responses? Is it because you don't know? Or you want to see a few more search responses? Okay, we're going for cycling. Okay, those of you who are interested in cycling in society, health benefits. Okay, these are all proper papers. Okay, high-tech cycling, and if you have things like electric, okay, systematic review and meta-analysis evaluating the effects of electric bikes on physiological parameters. Okay, all these things can be cited. Okay, you can refer to them. Okay, and coming back to the question, why do we go for the latest? Usually we click on this. Can you see this? Can you see my screen? Anytime, instead of now it is like a general results. Okay, most relevant results are coming in. You can click on since 2022 or since 2025. Okay, to get the latest papers. So you can see that quickly Google Scholar fetches all of these for you. Okay, so then if you want to include patents, you can click on it, and again patents will also come up, so you can do your patent search also from here. Then we also have google.patents.com now, so for a better only for patent search alone. Okay, so for our paper or for our literature review, it is always good to include latest papers. And the reason why we go for latest papers is that we have to ensure that our topic or the topic that we are going to work on is still relevant in society today. Okay, we cannot say that something which was a hot topic in 1980. Okay, that was a hot topic at that time, but now it may not be relevant. Now the technology might have outgrown it. Okay, so just to ensure that your research is relevant even today, and there are people researchers working on it, you should go for latest papers. Okay, so I hope this is clear, all of you. Google Scholar, how to use it? Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the response. Now about IEEE Explore. Now, final year students, I can see some final year students also responding now. Now, many of you have already done a literature review, like final year. Okay, so in that case, we can go to this IEEE Explore. Okay, you click on IEEE Explore, and you can go for your topic. Like this time, you go for robotics. Okay, under robotics itself, you can, if you have something specific like the robotic arm or anything like that, you can select for it specifically. Okay, here all of these. Okay, many papers come up. Now, if you see a green signal like this, okay, an unlock signal, it means that you can click on it, okay, and it is ready for you to view. Now, here I have signed in, or you can see, can you see this? I'll just zoom it out for you. Okay, access provided by Marveselius College of Engineering and Technology. Okay, so if you can sign in that way, you will be able to read many papers. Okay, many more papers than you would if you simply go to IEEE Explore and check. Okay, so how do you get this access? Now I've copied it. Okay, through our library, we have access to the IEEE conference proceedings, then the journals, etc. Okay, so I'll just put in a message to you. Okay, so I'd like all of you to just copy this to your systems or to your phones in case you've logged in from your phone. Okay, so this is something that you can all use. Okay, mbcet.nimbus.com, and you can log into it. Click on forgot password and it will come to your MBCET email. Okay, so using that, you can read a lot of papers. Okay, and another thing. Now we go back to our slide, and you can search using keywords. That's what we did. Okay, we search for robotics and nanotechnology and cycling. Okay, and we can open a paper and you can read. Okay, and when you read, what do you read first? Okay, you first read the title, okay, and see whether it's relevant for you. Okay, and then you can read the abstract. Okay, the abstract, we'll see how the abstract is written. All right, we'll see that later. For now, we'll quickly go through all of this and move on. So we read the abstract, then we read the introduction. All right, and you'll feel by this time, oh, I don't understand anything. Now, that is a common sentiment. Okay, all please remember, this is something that we all feel when we read IEEE papers or science direct papers. Okay, that's because but the out of the many the things that we're going to see, this will be the small area which is most relevant for us. Okay, before we start working on our projects. So we read the introduction section. Okay, and then we quickly scroll down. All right, and go to the conclusion. That's good. So that should be how you read your papers. Do not go through the full paper, because at some point of time you'll be like, this is too much for me. I cannot understand anything. I'm skipping. I'm giving up. I cannot do any project. So do not get discouraged. All right, because once you start writing papers and once you publish your paper, other people are also going to read your paper and say the same thing. Oh, this is too much for me. I cannot understand anything. Okay, so the most important thing is, what should you do? You should read the title first, of course, see whether it's relevant to your interest, then read the abstract, then go skim through the introduction, jump to the conclusion. Okay, and if you still think that it is relevant to you, you can go through the methodology or the existing literature and the results. Okay, don't expect to understand everything, because usually conference papers will be the result of at least 1 year's effort. okay, or at least 6 months effort. All right. So we cannot expect to understand it as soon as we read. Okay, it's not like our textbooks. It is like a condensed. There are page limits, which we'll be speaking about. There are page limits, and so everything is condensed. All the information that they want to share with you is condensed. Okay, we do not write textbook explanations. Everything is like a bit technical. All right, so this is how you go through the literature review part. And I'll go back to that, to this. Okay, our paper here has so many parts and so many things inside. Okay, and once you've read the paper, this much is enough. Methodology and results, even if you haven't read it, it's okay. If it is quite relevant to your work, what should you do immediately? You should click on cite this. Okay, you should click on cite this. Okay, and you have plain text or bibtech, RIS. Okay, we usually go for the plain text format. Now this is, I'll just zoom in. Okay, can you all see this? Okay, all right. So this is the plain text format. Okay, and you just have to copy this first portion. Okay, you do not need the keywords and abstract. If you click on this, you get the full abstract over there, but we do not need that. The citation is only this first portion. Okay, so this is the IEEE reference format. Once you reach final year and all, people will keep telling you, your teachers, your project coordinators, they'll keep saying use the IEEE reference format. Okay, so this is your IEEE reference format in which the authors are first mentioned, then the title of the paper is mentioned second within quotes, okay, double quotes. And if there are more authors, usually if there are only 2 or 3 authors, all the authors will be listed out. But if there are a lot of authors, then we just use this French or Greek or whatever it is, Latin. Okay, et al. YHSU, okay, et al. Now means that there are other people, okay, and the others. So, and then the conference name, the year, the pages. Okay, if you see this PP thing, it is like pages between 48 and 55. Okay, and then the DUI, etc. Okay, so this you should just take it, copy it, and go to some text file. Okay, which you should maintain for your conference paper. Okay, save it somewhere. Now, conference paper. Okay, and okay, and you copy it over there. All right, and there are different tools for this also. Your teachers may give you hints on that. Different tools are there, but this is the most basic thing. We are not using any tools right here, but we are, anytime we read a paper, that should be saved somewhere. Okay, why? Because you will be reading this, you will be understanding information from it, and that will contribute to your development of your project and your paper also. Okay, so this is one thing that you need to do. Am I clear till here? Okay, all this will help, or all this, right? So all this is going to help you in the writing of your paper. All right, so maintain a reference library also. What is this reference library? This, okay, IEEE for referencing, okay, that you have done. Okay, that you're going to keep that as your library. Okay, so now we move on from idea to the IEEE paper. Okay, so we identify a problem, then study existing work, literature review, etc. Okay, we maintain a reference library. Okay, and at this point of time, many of you will be like, oh my God, she's telling me so many things. I just have to use AI for this, right? We have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have so many good tools in front of us. So isn't that enough? What do you think? ChatGPT can do everything for us, right? Do we even need this session? I need your responses. Okay, if it's too much to type, please use the voice. Okay. No, that will not improve our knowledge. Okay. Yeah, correct. Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you, Amit. Because if AI can, AI can help. It can help a lot. Okay, and AI can assist us. Okay, we are once we start doing a project or once we start thinking. Okay, even if we haven't started doing the project, the moment we start thinking of, or once that idea comes to our mind, we start thinking. Our research journey begins. Okay, and AI can assist us, but it cannot replace us, or it cannot become the researcher. AI doesn't know what is happening or what my purpose is. Okay, so use AI by all means, but use it after doing your own research. Okay, use it as a tool. Okay, so let's just see how AI can help us. AI can help. Okay, it can help in improving our grammar. It can help in summarizing things. It can help in brainstorming also. You get ideas from all over the world. Many people, they upload their content completely to all these databases, okay, which are not protected, and AI learns from all of this. So we get a lot of ideas from the databases or from the websites that are shared or hosted all over the globe. Okay, and a lot of things are also made up by AI. Sounds good. Okay, so brainstorming, it does help. Then improving clarity. Okay, we may have some small doubts here and there which we do not know who to ask to. Okay, so improving clarity on things, and also in reference management assistance. Okay, so we've just started doing our reference management. What was the first step? Okay, this portion. Okay, your this was our first reference, right? Now managing all of this, sometimes you may not go, this is the IEEE format. There are other formats also, the APA format, the MKS, different formats are there. Sometimes your conference may not be an IEEE conference, and they may ask for a different format. Just give it to ChatGPT or some AI tool, and it will do the conversion quickly. Okay, so two different formats. All that can be done. All of those are really helpful things for us. Okay, so but AI cannot replace. Okay, it cannot replace research contribution, experiments, data analysis, scientific reasoning, author responsibility. Okay, so we cannot just take the topic, give some inputs, and give it to AI and say, okay, you generate. It will give us a very beautiful paper. We just have to do a little bit of copy paste, or if we have premium packages, it will give us the proper format, also pure paper. Okay, but that will be of no use to you. Okay, that will only pull you back. It will make your, it will not help you in any way. Okay, we'll see more about that. All right, so there is something called plagiarism. Do you I one Yeah, plagiarism in writing. So before I show you the definition, yes, above you said something. AI databases tend to be outdated as well, as in not updated to the present year. Also, hallucinations occur which create fake citations. Yes, so true. Yeah, that's all of these are the problems that we face if we just rely on AI. AI can just create its own citations and references and all. And if you check for, like, some of them may be genuine, but some of them may like totally be not there. Okay, so it's so risky. We cannot depend on AI for writing our reference papers. Okay, and another problem that we face is plagiarism in writing. Okay, so here we go back to our reference paper. So we have this paper on collaborative robotics toolkit. Okay, so we read through this, okay, and we get some ideas from this, and suppose we write it in our own words. Okay, something totally different from what was written over here, but getting the same concept, okay, and writing about this particular collaborative robotics toolkit in your own words. Sometimes there are plagiarism detectors and all, and sometimes they may say, okay, there is similarity, but it's like similarity is below 20%. So your guide may not notice. Yours may get forwarded also. But the actual idea the idea came from someone else's work. Okay, someone who has spent decades working towards that. And right now, you are just quoting from that person, or you're uh, writing something similar to that person's work. And if you're not referencing it, or if you do not say that this idea came from this particular paper, then that is actually an illegal act. Okay, because I'm sure all of you would have heard the term plagiarism, but in case you do not know what it is, or in case you're not clear, I'll just show you the proper definition. The act of copying another person's ideas, words, or work and pretending that they are your own. Okay, it may not be intentional. We may not have this feeling that I don't want to copy that person, or I just copy pasted that person's work. I did not mean that I wrote it. How can I write it? I am only a second year student. Okay, these may all be the things, these may be the thoughts that come to your mind. But when we write a paper, we have to be very careful, because that is going to be a document. Okay, and when you write something without referencing, without giving a reference, saying that I read this paper, I got the idea from there, or a very similar idea has already been proposed in this particular paper, if we do not quote that, then it is wrong on our side. Okay, even if we write it in our own words, or even if it goes past the plagiarism detector, okay, even if it is similar, but it can be like it is less than 20% and all, even then, from a moral point of view, that is wrong. Okay, we are supposed to say that this, there is a very similar work there, here, and there, and all. Okay, so literature review is very important. Okay, because we have to know that these are ideas that have been worked on by people before us. Okay, so we have to consciously know more about plagiarism. We have to do an extensive literature review as much as we can. Okay, so that is about plagiarism in writing and all. Okay, yes, avoiding plagiarism. Okay, so how do we do that? We read multiple sources. We understand the concept. We write in our own technical explanations, and we cite whenever the idea or data or method comes from another source. Okay, so that is something that we all need to do. All right, so yeah, so I think I've covered all of this, and now we're going to move on to the actual IEEE conference paper writing. Okay, so let me just see the time. Oh, it's 11:45. Okay, so are you all ready? Are you all ready to move forward, or are you all sleeping? Okay, okay. Three responses. I hope I haven't made all of you feel sleepy. Okay, okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay, so let's move on. IEEE conference paper writing. Okay, so why do IEEE conference papers matter? Okay, so let's go through this. IEEE conferences are among the most prestigious venues for research dissemination in engineering and technology. Publishing in IEEE conferences significantly enhances your academic visibility and career impact. Now, you do not simply write a paper, submit, and it's over. Okay, you have to write it, you have to format it according to the IEEE format. Then you have to submit it for peer review. Okay, that will be to a conference. Okay, and it will be reviewed by at least two. Okay, at least two reviewers from any part of the globe. Okay, it is usually anonymous. We will not know who reviewed our paper. Okay, and then review comments will come. We have to revise, okay, based on the review comments. Okay, unless they say, okay, yours is a perfect paper, no comments. Okay, if usually there will be a few comments given by the reviewer. Sometimes they may say, yours is not good enough. You have to revise it and resubmit. Okay, so that is like a reject. Sometimes they say minor revisions are there. Okay, so resubmit, make the changes and resubmit. Sometimes they say major changes are there, so you have to do an extensive resubmit. It all depends on how the reviewers see your work. Okay, so it is always good if you know what requirements are there for an IEEE paper, okay, before you start writing it. Okay, and once yours is accepted, okay, you do a registration. There will usually be a fee for it. Okay, there will be a conference fee, and you register for it and you present. Unless you present your paper at the IEEE conference, your paper will not be marked for inclusion. Okay, inclusion in the IEEE Explore database. Okay, so this IEEE Explore database is what we had seen earlier. Okay, the IEEE Explore IEEE.org. Now, this is something globally accepted, and once it reaches your IEEE Explore database, it is also indexed by other reputed indexing agencies, okay, like Scopus and also. Even if you go for higher studies, or at some point of your life you think, okay, now I've worked for so long, now I've got to do some higher studies. Any point of your life, this particular paper publication that you did, okay, some people immediately after they graduate, they go for higher studies in other countries or in higher education institutes in India. And in all these places, your prior publications are very, very important. Okay, so having, if you submit, if you present at a good IEEE conference, that is going to be included in this global database, and it will stay with you throughout your life. Okay, so that is why this is so much important. Okay, so yeah, the why IEEE conference papers matter. Okay, and this is the structure and the formatting. Okay, so you have the title, the abstract, the keywords, the introduction, methods, results, conclusion, acknowledgement is optional, and references. Okay, and IEEE formatting is usually double column layout. Okay, we'll see the IEEE conference format. There are specific font sizes, margins, heading styles. Okay, and always use the official IEEE template available in LaTeX or Microsoft Word. So how many of you have worked in LaTeX? Anyone? I cannot see any responses here. Okay, Abhav has worked in LaTeX. Okay, MS Word, that is something that all of us know. Okay, so we have to, the LaTeX is another documentation software, yeah, in overleaf. And earlier we only had LaTeX, and it used to be a, like, it is really the output that it gives is really good quality PDFs, and all the formatting things are considered or taken care of by LaTeX. Now, earlier it used to be a bit more difficult to install and download and do a lot of things. Okay, adding libraries and all used to be a bit more complicated. But now we have what Abhav has mentioned. We have Overleaf. Okay, and Overleaf uses the LaTeX software and is very user friendly. Okay, so this is one possibility, or we can go for Microsoft Word also. Okay, so both of these are really good. Now we have to adhere to the page limits. Okay, for each conference, some conferences specify 4 pages, double column format, some 5, and some conferences allow 5 plus 1. Okay, just for references, one more extra page. It all depends on the conference. You have to read the conference guidelines and apply IEEE citation format for all references. Even if you refer Science Direct, Elsevier, Wiley, or Taylor and Francis, the way in which you write the references, okay, that is the IEEE format. Okay, this one that we had seen earlier. Okay, so apply that particular format. Okay, then, yes, where do we download the IEEE conference template from? Okay, so this is the link to it. Now, okay, I, yeah, you can always just go for a simple Google search. Okay, IEEE conference, IEEE conference template. Okay, and you'll be able to get it. So if it's overleaf that you want, that is available, and your manuscript templates, they are also available if you just want to use MS Word. Okay, so you can go for this A4 doc. All right, so I just included a screenshot of this. Go for A4 doc. Okay, this one, if you are using MS Word, or overleaf you can directly get from the net. Okay, and so yeah, this is the format. All right, and the format is a very nice and and it's an interactive format. You read through it, you read the format, you download the format and read it. Okay, because a lot of stuff is given there. Okay, so we just quickly go through it. Okay, yeah. Yes. So this is the style that you will be using. If you have a lot of authors, then all of these will be used. If you have all of you, like in your project mates, if all of them are from the same department, like Department of Computer Science or Electrical and Electronics, then you can combine. Okay, you can combine these. You need not give separate titles. Now, if one of you is from here, or two of you are from this our college, and one of you is from somewhere else, okay, some other college somewhere, okay, or one person is from the industry, in that case you have to give separate organizations and separate what affiliations and all. Okay, so otherwise you can combine these. Now, yeah, so usually your paper title, okay, we'll see about each of these. All right, one by one we're going to see. So this is just an overview, and you should read this format because a lot of interesting things are given here. Okay, simply just read it. It's an interactive template. Okay, equations and how equations should be given, identifying the headings, okay, how tables, okay, different styles are possible, so how they should be given, and something important, figures and tables. If it's a figure, okay, if it's a figure, then you have to give the figure caption below. Okay, give the figure caption below the figure, and if it's a table, you have to give the table name above the table. Okay, these are some small things that we might forget later. So when you download the template, just try to read through everything. Okay, otherwise everything is almost understandable. Then there is this section called acknowledgement, and it is perfectly optional. Now, do not acknowledge everyone in this college, like the principal. You do not do that in your IEEE paper. Acknowledgements are given only if the person is not needs to has done some work, like in the laboratory, or if some extensive work has been done. Only in that case, in a paper, we give the acknowledgement. We do not acknowledge. This is completely optional. And if we have got funding, if we've got funding from the college or funding from some agency, or if we have collaborated with some external industry, in that case, after getting their permission, okay, we can mention over here, okay, that we acknowledge this particular uh, department or this particular person. Okay, or we otherwise we do not do that. If at all, if you have, okay, if they have contributed to your paper, please ensure that their names are given as part of the authors, okay, if they have contributed significantly. Okay, funding is usually mentioned here. Okay, identify applicable funding agency here. If none, you can delete the box. This is something optional. you can mention any funding that you receive here under in the first page, okay, and as this footnote. And also acknowledgements can be mentioned here also. Okay, so the full document is something important that you need to read before applying. Okay, so we come back to this. All right, so let's move on. Now, conference paper submission, as I said, it has three steps. First, you prepare your manuscript, you submit it before the deadline. Okay, every conference will have a deadline. So, when you call for papers come, you've got to read the submission deadline and submit it before the deadline. Then peer review, you address any reviewer feedback, submit required revisions, and after acceptance, okay, you can complete the conference registration and prepare your presentation for delivery. Okay, so writing pitfalls. Clear and concise writing is essential. Maintain a logical flow. Okay, so formatting errors, missing sections. Okay, those are all very bad things. Okay, that could happen. So please ensure that all the things that we saw in the format. Okay, in this format, all the sections are identified and are completed before you the submit to a conference. Okay, so shall we start? I would like to just minimize this for now. Back to tab. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So IEEE conference paper. Okay, typically it's 8 to 15 words. Avoid very long titles and highlight the main contribution, not just the project name. Okay, so we go back to our IEEE Explore search. Okay, can you just look at all of these? Can you just look at all of these? The neuro-robotics paradigm, collaborative robotics toolkit, a miniature mobile robot with a color stereo camera system. Okay, so can you tell me? Second. Yeah. So yes. Now, one doubt that I have. So when you give a project, okay, when you give a project title, you may be giving it something like giving it as speech assist, okay, or some small name. Now, when your conference paper comes up, okay, when you go to the title, do not give that short name, okay. Your name, okay, should or the title should consist of the method, okay. Here I've given it the method or the technique that you've used, the task or problem that you'd like to solve, and the application domain. Okay, that doesn't mean that it should be very long. Okay, we do not want it to be very long. It should be short and concise, but it should not be so short that when you read the title, you have no idea what is there inside. Okay, sometimes we see students submitting conference papers having very short titles, which is not advisable. Okay, because later when you do a Google search or when you do an IEEE Explore search and all, you'll be giving a keyword or multiple keywords. Okay, you may not be just saying cycling. It will be like something, one particular area that you want to deal with, right? So in that case, examples like this. Okay, your IoT based smart healthcare monitoring system using wearable sensors, because you may be searching for a sensor, okay, or wearable sensors. So all of these, like just how you give hashtag, okay, in Instagram, in your paper title, all those hashtags should be there. Okay, so maybe everything cannot be included, but the most important things, if possible, you can include them there. There is another place where you can put all those hashtags without the hash. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, so title, is it clear for all of you? Yes, title done. All right. Okay, Veda. Okay, so title is done. Now, IEEE title checklist. So, does it tell the reader what the paper does? Does it highlight the technical contribution? So, these are the things that we have to think. Is it searchable using keywords? Okay, so when we do a search, is, is it going to be there in your title? Is it free from unnecessary words? Okay, we do not want anything unnecessary because your title should be concise. Okay, we do not want it to be too long, lengthy and all, because those can come as review comments if it's too long and if it's too short also. Okay, so medium length is what we want, containing the important information. And does it avoid exaggerated claims? Okay, a novel or what something, okay, exaggerated claims are also not advisable. Okay, so this is one checklist that you can use. Okay, then about the abstract. Okay, so we go back. Okay, so now at this point of time, let's go for some publication. Okay, which publication should we look? Some conference paper. Okay, may not necessarily be, yeah, this is one IEEE paper, I think. Okay, so this is one example that I'm just projecting. Okay, we, I do not claim that it's the best or anything. It's a student paper. So here the authors are from here. These could have been combined together. Okay, because no. Closing it for now. Okay, so this is one paper that we had submitted to a conference here in Marbe Salius College. Now, at that point of time, maybe I did not notice, but Haripriya RP and my name. Okay, these could have been like combined because see, you can see that the affiliation is the same, Department of Electronics and Communication, Marbe Salius College of Engineering and Technology. So I should have asked my student to say Haripriya RP, comma, Leni Rachel Matthew. Okay, and Department of Electronics, that can be as one. And K. Gopakumar, he is from my professor. So he is from a different, he at that time he was in TKM college. So his should be separate. Okay, we cannot combine another person from another college into our own what, our own block. All right, so this is something that even if it's like this, nobody is going to question us or anything. It's perfectly acceptable, but it's usually done like that, especially when we have multiple authors. In your projects, in BTech projects, usually we have four or five, okay, 3 to 4 students, okay, plus your guide's name. We usually give the guide's name at the end. Okay, first authors are usually the people who actually do the work. Okay, so the persons who do the work have to be given first, okay, priority, that their names should be the first, should come first, and then your guide or the guide has asked, okay, to or referred, okay, or wants to include in the author list. Okay, then we come to the abstract. Okay, so abstract, this is a keyword, it has to be kept as such, and this hyphen. Okay, then we write about, okay, we write about the, we write it as a condensed form of the full paper. Okay, so what do we do when we write this abstract? Usually it is like from 150 to 250 words. Check the specific conference template. It should be a single paragraph. You do not split the abstract into 2 paragraphs or 3. All right. Then we avoid citations, equations, tables, figures. None of these should be there inside your abstract. Is this clear? All right, and it will be kept in bold also. That's part of the formatting. So can you see anything, any square brackets, etc.? You can see a square bracket here. Okay, square brackets. Okay, you can see all of these square brackets there. What are they? What are they? What are those square brackets? Those are the references or the citations, okay, to the reference papers. All right, so none of those will be seen inside the abstract. Okay, so then an abstract ideally should have 5 parts. Okay, first the background or motivation or about the area, then the problem statement or the objective in one sentence, then the methodology, condensed, okay, condensed methodology using, mentioning which particular technology or which particular technique or algorithm has been used. Okay, then about the results. Okay, something specific about the results, and maybe finally you wind it up. Okay, saying that this has this particular contribution. Okay, so we just quickly review this particular abstract that we had. Okay, it may not be perfect. Okay, tracking of stationary noise is not an issue when noise properties itself are changing with time. Okay, then after that, so that is the background. All right, the background, the problem statement is mentioned, then the methodology. Okay, some particular methodology is being mentioned, then the results of findings. The results of findings are mentioned here. The performance evaluation and PESQ scores. Okay, so the performance is mentioned. Then the results are, sorry, the methodology was mentioned. Then results. Okay, it's just mentioned like this. It's good if you can put in a few values also, if possible. Okay, some values. We'll see more about that, and the contribution of impact. Okay, so when you read the abstract, you will have an idea as to what has been done in the paper. Okay, so abstract is a one paragraph thing that you include at the start of your IEEE paper. Okay, yes. Now we'll just see the reviewer check. Okay, so the reviewer will also be first going through the title, okay, and then looking at the abstract. So that will give an idea to the reviewer. Is the problem important? Is the method sound? Is it novel? Are the results convincing? Okay, just a quick check. So the when you write the abstract, keep all these in your minds. Okay, now keywords. All right, so all your hashtags, they can be included because you can include up to 6 keywords. Okay, not more than that, but 3 to 6. 3 is a minimum. Okay, so 5 to 6 is usually what is advised. Okay, so keywords here: non-stationary, noise power spectrum, E-date, STFT, DWT, enhancement. Could be good if you can give the full forms also. Okay, discrete wavelet transform. Okay, so that when those, so these are keywords and they will all be used for making your paper come forward. Okay, when anyone searches for it. Okay, so include the important things either in your title, or if there is, if your title will become too long, then ensure that it is there in your keyword section. Okay, now sometimes you have to use a comma as the separator, sometimes you'll be asked to use a semicolon. Okay, so check the conference guidelines and do accordingly. Okay, now choose keywords from main technique or method, main application area, etc. Okay, avoid the following very broad terms like technology. Please don't use that as a keyword. Okay, or just learning. Okay, it should be a bit more specific. And keywords that are not central to the paper. Sometimes we do copy paste from someone else and we unknowingly end up with keywords which are not even there in the paper, which is going to make your paper get rejected. Okay, so do not do that. Now the introduction. Okay, so now I hope all of you are with me. Now what's the time? I just see 12:10. Oh my god. Now we've got to move faster now. Okay, so IEEE conference paper introduction. Recommended structure: background and context, existing problem or research challenge, related work overview, proposed work or main contribution, paper organization, which is optional. Did you understand anything? Yes? No? Okay, so we'll go to the paper. Okay, I'll just download it so that you can see a bit more. Yeah, that's done. Not open. Okay. I think, I think it's not getting open. All right, so let's see this, the introduction. Okay, it is, in this case, the introduction is quite long. We usually keep the introduction within the first page. Okay, so here, okay, so All right. Okay, so this part, so you have an introduction, all right, and finally the organization of the paper. Okay, so speech, about speech. This paper is about speech enhancement, all right. So here the introduction tells us about speech, quality of speech, and anytime, see, can you just read the sentence? These noises can highly affect the quality as well as intelligibility of speech. Okay, so reference, the reference is given over here, which is that paper reference. Okay, paper reference is given here. Okay, this is a book reference actually, and to be frank, one mistake has been made over here. What is the mistake? Okay, I think that there was one mistake over there, but we'll speak about that later. Okay, so right now we are focusing on the introduction. Okay, we are focusing on the introduction. So background and context, opening paragraph. So let's see the opening paragraph. So this is the background. Okay, then existing problem or research challenge, that has been mentioned over here. Okay, it has been mentioned. Related work overview. Okay, so that is not, we do not have separate paragraphs for it, but all of this should be contained within the introduction. Okay, so all the papers that are referenced, okay, will be given over here. Okay, so one, all of these are mentioned, 1, 12, 4, 2, etc. All right, so we have an idea about all the existing literature. Then the proposed work or the main contribution. So here they say about this paper. In this particular paper, what is being done? The focus is all on E-date, okay, one particular algorithm, and also about DWT. Okay, so about the algorithm, it will be given. And the paper organization. Okay, the paper organization is mentioned over here. The paper is organized into the following sections. Section 2 gives an overview on the noise spectrum, etc. So usually the last paragraph of the introduction gives us the organization of the full paper. Okay, so that helps, okay, the person who reads the paper to get a quick overview from the first introduction itself. Okay, because earlier when we started this workshop, we had said, what did we say? We read the title, then we read the abstract, then what? Then the introduction, right? And jump to the conclusion. So you have an idea about what is going on in the paper by the time you reach the introduction. Okay, so and then avoid, okay, things that you can use, always use formal academic language. Okay, third person or passive voice where appropriate. You cannot say that I did this, okay, I did that. It is all in third person. This paper proposes the use of something. Okay, that's all. It's all in third person or the passive voice. Okay, so this is where our professional communication, all the English, that language that we studied earlier, comes to help. And supposing we are not very strong in English, what do we do? What will we do? What will we do? Yes, chat box, please. We will get the help of. Everyone's sleeping, everybody's gone. Everyone's gone to have a break, perhaps. Any responses, or else I'll also have a break. The question was, supposing, like I said, right, we mentioned that we need to have a good language, okay, in order to write it correctly in third person, right? And supposing we are not very confident about our language abilities, what will we do? Yes, no responses till now. Okay, we all will just go and ask for help to AI. Okay, any AI that is available. Okay, and that's what we said. We can use AI not as a researcher, but as a tool to help us. Okay, so we can write what we feel in our own words and then ask AI or ChatGPT or anything to help correct the tense, okay, for this particular IEEE conference paper. All right? Very good. Okay. So I'm not getting responses, which means that I have to wind up the session very fast. Okay, so there are many things over here, like citations wherever you refer to ideas from your literature review. Okay, so what are citations? Citing references. Okay, several CNN, like in the text, several CNN based approaches have been proposed. Now you may not be able to write the full length. They have been proposed in this particular paper and that particular paper. So what do? You give the reference number 1 and 2, and okay, and corresponding to that, in your references section you will be having the full, you will have the number 1 and a particular paper, and anytime you refer to that paper you will always use the square bracket number 1. Okay, now what will a reviewer check, okay, in this? Why is this problem important? What is missing in the current research? What does this paper contribute? Okay, so you got, the reviewer would have got a slight idea from the abstract, but after that, again, more details are given in the introduction. Okay, now we move to the next thing, the methodology. All right, so what were the sections you have? Where the sections are title, and the authors should be given along with the title, then the abstract, the introduction, then the methodology. Okay, in the methodology, all that you have about your system overview, your data set description, your data pre-processing, proposed model architecture, training and evaluation strategy, all of these are included. Okay, and it can be mentioned as proposed method, materials and methods, system model, etc. Okay, depending on how your project was carried out. Then the recommended structure, all of these areas should be covered under your methodology, and it explains how the research was carried out. Cite, even in this methodology section, if you are referring to someone else's ideas, give the citation. Okay, citation should not be given in the abstract, okay, but in the introduction, in the methodology, okay, in the conclusion, we don't usually do that, because by then all the papers that you've referred to will already have been cited. So in the conclusion, we generally don't go for giving a new reference over there. Okay, so in the methodology also, anytime you're referring to other people's ideas, or if you have an equation, a new equation that is mentioned over here, and if you got that equation from a particular place, you can always cite it. Some basic equations will be there which need not be referenced to, okay, but anything novel that has come, one particular equation or one particular table which you had referenced, and you have to mention that in the paper, give the citation number. Okay, and provide enough technical detail for another researcher to understand and reproduce your work, but don't make it too long. Okay, if you want detailed notes and all, you can upload it in GitHub or any other repository. Here it should be condensed, okay, because you have a word limit. Okay, but the basic overview should be there, and a person who reads it should know which software you used or which hardware kit you used, and how were the people who, upon, like, if people are involved, what their age group is, then how you ask them to respond. You take your product to them and get it used by them, etc. Okay, you are how you produced your research, your experimental setup. Okay, you can see data set collection or data collection, experimental setup. All of these need to be included in a concise manner. Or if you're using some other data set, okay, there are a lot of publicly available data sets that needs to be mentioned in your paper. Okay, so all of these are given under the methodology. Then you have the next section is results. Okay, now a good IEEE results section will not simply list numbers. It should explain what the results mean. Okay, and your experimental setup brief, because in the methodology section you've already mentioned it in detail. So, but still, when you start, it's good if you can just mention something about the experimental setup. Then go on, okay, go for the quantitative results like tables and figures and all. Okay, so in the results, now in each place, I'll just go through this again. In your abstract, did you notice this? Your background and motivation should be given in the present tense. Problem statement, that is also in the present tense. Okay, all the grammar that we studied is used here. Then the methodology, because when you write a paper, you've already done the work, so you use the past tense. The results are in the past tense. Your contribution or impact in the present tense. So similarly, in introduction, which tense is used? The present tense for established facts. Okay, if a fact is established, we use the present tense. Like speech processing is hotly is an area in which a lot of research is going on, etc. Okay, so those are all current things. So we use the present tense for established facts and past tense for your work which you have completed. Okay, not your future work, but for your completed work, the results obtained were like this. Okay, or these performance parameters were used. All right, so that's about the introduction. So methodology, this explains how the research was carried out. So methodology is something that we've already done. So which will be the tense? Past or present? Past or present? Okay, conference people, are you there? Nobody is responding. Am I audible?
Yes, miss. Yes.
Okay. So my question was methodology, about methodology, and methodology is something that we've already done. So will we write it in the past tense or the present tense? Okay, past tense. Thank you, Fiza. Okay, so can I proceed? Okay, okay. All right. So this is about the methodology. Yeah. So it's in past tense. So this was done, or this is the data set was used. All right. And then results. Results is also something that is complete, right? So we can use a past tense there. Okay, use the past tense. Use precise numbers. Improve by 5.3%. Don't say it's significantly improved. How much improvement is there? Or the system developed is very accurate. You cannot say like that. Okay, you have to test it. You have to give figures and say how accurate it is. And when you say how, when you have to find how accurate it is, you have to test the project for n number of times, maybe 10 times or 20 times, and see and tabulate what the results are and compare it with your expected result and see how accurate the result is. Okay, and if in 20 times you got 18 outputs correctly, then your accuracy becomes 18 out of 20. Okay, and your error rate is like 2 out of 20. In that way, or sometimes you may be focusing on the time or the latency. Okay, so earlier in the earlier version, the latency or the time taken for the system to work and produce a result was 2.3 seconds, and right now after this, okay, you tested for so many times and the average time that you get is 1.7 seconds. Okay, so you can see the improvement 2.3, okay, the earlier value minus 1.7. Okay, you can get that much of improvement and you can get the percentage of improvement. So all of these, if you can write all basic things, but if you can write it in a mathematical way, it helps a lot for improving the credibility of your work. All right, so yeah, avoid repeating the methodology. Now, methodology is already there. So when we say experimental setup, briefly or you can avoid it also. Okay, no problem. But don't explain it again. Unsupported claims. The proposed model gives excellent performance. Is that acceptable? No, you have to compare and it gives a performance improvement by this much. Okay, and better, the proposed model achieved 95.4% accuracy compared with the earlier accuracy. Then your guide may say, please include graphs. Okay, so you test your project. Okay, you get a graph and you paste the graph and you be very happy. You stay very happily saying that you have a graph. Okay, that's a great thing. Okay, but do not stop with that. A graph should be explained. Okay, just because it's something a very simple graph does not mean that a person who reads your paper for the first time will understand. Okay, we cannot take that for granted. You have to give explanation for your graph. Okay, so once you do a project, okay, and if you're planning for an IEEE or any conference paper, you should have in mind that it's not sufficient that you do the project and the day before your review, the final review, you say, my project is working, yay, I've succeeded. Okay, that is not enough. You have to test it. And when you test, we are not expecting 100% accuracy, because if it's 100% accuracy, it means that you tested it only once or twice. Okay, so if you get 100% for around 100 or 200 like testing times, okay, testing numbers, in that case, okay, but that is the likelihood for that is very low. Okay, so when you do your project, ensure that you have a meaningful test case in your mind. Okay, and do those test cases and write down the values or enter the values in your mobile phone. Okay, and use those values for generating tables, and use those tables for generating a graph, and include all those tables and graphs. Okay, maybe if it's the same data, then you can include a graph, or if there is something extra that you cannot show in the graph, you can include the table also. Okay, so having tables and graphs will always improve the quality of your paper. Okay, so when you start planning for your projects, have all these in your mind also. Review check. Did the proposed method work? How well did it perform? Is it better than existing methods? What are its strengths and limitations? Okay, so in the results section, you can also mention if you can explain and all, and compare with existing methods if that is part of your work. It's not mandatory. It's good if you can compare with existing methods, because when you have to claim that it is better than others, then definitely you have to have a comparison, right? So try to have that also in your projects. That may not always be possible in a mini project, but if you're going for your final project, definitely you will need to have a comparison with existing methods. And the analysis and discussion, what is that? It's not enough to simply just list out the values. You have to list it out, generate a graph if possible, and give us the explanation for that also. Okay, so we'll just go through that paper once again. As I said, it's a student paper. It has its limitations, but it was done by one of our students who was very sincere. Okay, and sincere in her work. So it's the work done by that student alone. So these are this is part of her methodology. Okay, so all the things that she did, she included in the form of flowcharts. Okay, now all those were there. Then equations were given. Equations need to be numbered. Okay, and figure, if there is a figure, definitely the caption should be there. The caption should be given below the figure. If there is a table, okay, these are all the figures that were generated. Okay, and for all of these figures, the caption should be below the figure. Then if you have equations, those equations need to be numbered. And for every figure, okay, for every figure, it's not enough that you just paste the figure, you give it a number and leave it like that. Every figure has to have a corresponding explanation in the what in the body of the paper. Okay, so if at all there is a figure, there should be a corresponding explanation, or even one single sentence may be enough, but that should be there. Okay, so figure 6 is explained over here, just a single line explanation. All right, but that is compulsory. Then equations have to be numbered. Now, if you have a table, you can see that the table title, okay, should be given on top of the table. Okay, figures below you have the captions. Okay, so all these values were generated, and corresponding to these, you have to think of the ideal graph which can give you an idea. Okay, the ideal graph for, or the most suitable graph for your experiment. So I have to read this once again, or maybe this information is different from this, or different test cases. Okay, for airport noise corrupted. So this is one table. Now this contains different data. Okay, airport noise corrupted speech. Okay, so all of these. So usually if you have a table, exactly the same information in a graph is not advisable. Okay, you can have a table, and for some other test purposes, you can have a graph. All right. So it all depends on your project. Now everything is specific to your particular project. Okay, and the table, the percentage of inputs giving improvement. Okay, so 81% improvement in different kinds of scores. Okay, and this particular student, okay, she had obtained the code. Okay, the code that was used for running her project. A part of it was obtained after she wrote to one of the authors. Okay, that author is mentioned over here, Van Khan May. Okay, so she sent a mail to this person asking for more information about this particular paper in which she was interested in. Okay, so she sent him a mail. I think it's him. Okay, she sent him a mail and he replied, and he gave her access to the code that he was working on. So she was able to use that, modify it for her purpose. Okay, and that is why she has included this. The authors acknowledge the original work on the date based algorithms of this particular university. Okay, so this is the paper that she had mainly referred. Okay, and she got information, more information on it from their university itself, or this author himself. Okay, and that's why this is acknowledged. So sometimes when papers may not be acknowledged, that is not a mandatory thing. Okay, but if you have got information, we cannot include one of them as the authors because they have not done this particular work. Okay, but in some way or the other, either this including the person's publications in your references is something very very helpful to them. Okay, because the author, there are search engines, there are engines which collect data as to how many people are reading your work, how many people are referencing your work. Okay, so all of this helps a lot, helps these authors a lot. Okay, so that is something that you can do in return. Okay, anytime you use somebody else's work, you can put their references in your paper, so they will get benefited. Okay, so research is something very collaborative in which we help others, others help us, future generations will cite our works, we will cite other people's works. Okay, so this is something, a very collaborative network, and a lot of possibilities are there for all of us. Okay, so that's about the results. So we've reached the results, and acknowledgement, as I said, it's up to you to decide whether acknowledgement is relevant for you. Okay, if it's relevant, go for it. Now, IEEE conference paper conclusion. So that's the final short section, 1 to 3 paragraphs. Okay, one paragraph is also okay, but it has to have details. You do not write 1 or 2 lines and say, you cannot call that a conclusion. The conclusion should not be a repetition of what you've already written. You should think of the conclusion, think like it's like a something, okay, or a condensed form of what you've written. It summarizes the key findings of the paper. It highlights the contribution, and also, if possible, if you're planning to work on it in future, or if you would like to give some guidelines to future to other people, maybe your juniors, or maybe people from the other side of the globe. Okay, they can also read your conclusion and work on the research gap, or work on the future directions that you are envisaging. Okay, so that can be included. The recommended structure is restating Okay, not copy pasting the research problem and proposed work. You restate it in your own words. You summarize, you state the impact and future work, optional, but it is recommended. Be concise, focus on contributions and findings. Do not introduce new results. Okay, so in the conclusion, we do not want anything which has not been mentioned earlier. Okay, that is sometimes sorry, sometimes we find that mistake, like there can be one sentence about which we have had no previous information. Okay, something new in the conclusion is not acceptable. Okay, everything in the conclusion maybe a little more insight about finding or a result, that is okay. Okay, but it should not be something new. Do not add new references unless it is absolutely necessary. Okay, as I mentioned in the beginning, we do not usually, in the conclusion, we do not usually put in those square brackets. Usually, if it's very necessary, maybe in the future direction, this can be clubbed with that particular work or something like that. If it's absolutely necessary, you can include a reference there. Okay, then introducing new experiments. Okay, then over claiming it completely solves the problem, that is not acceptable. Now, a good IEEE conclusion answers what did the author propose, what did the author achieve, why does it matter, and what comes in future. Okay, then we come to the references section. Okay, so this is the references section. Let's see how many references she had put in, around 13. Okay, so 13 references. So usually around 12 to 20 quality paper references. Okay, so 12 to 15 or 20, it all depends. So sometimes your guide, okay, may say a literature review paper is what is needed. Okay, a survey paper. Okay, because you are at the start of your project. Okay, sometimes when you're entering the final year, first there will be a design phase and then the final phase and all. So in that initial portion, you'll be doing a lot of literature review, and your guide or your project coordinator may also tell you, make a survey paper, that is mandatory, or it is highly recommended, you get extra points for it. Okay, so all that we said was about papers in which you have completed your project, you have a working prototype, and you want to what you can do experiments, you can find the accuracy, and you can put it in the paper. Now, before all this happens, sometimes initially, based on your literature review itself, you can prepare a survey paper. Okay, so I'll show you a survey paper after this, if you are interested. Okay, so about this paper, this is the IEEE reference format that has been used. The author names are given first, then the paper title, and then the journal name. Okay, the volume, if there is the page numbers, then that should definitely be included. Usually it will be there, and the year. Okay, so this PP 445 to 450 it will usually be there. So please include that. Then sometimes books, your important textbooks. This is one very important book. Okay, so books can also be referred. So there are formats for all of these. So numbering, yes, I had mentioned in the beginning that one small mistake was there in the introduction. Okay, so I'm not sure whether this was the final paper. Maybe that was corrected later. Okay, but we'll just see what was that mistake. Okay, so after the abstract, we came to the introduction, right? So in the introduction, we can just read it. Speech is a non-stationary signal, etc. Real world noise, quality of speech delivered in the end party gets. Okay, some issues there. So I think this was not the final paper. But what I wanted to speak more about was this reference. Okay, the reference number is written in a square bracket. That is correct. Okay, but in an IEEE paper, the first reference should be numbered as 1. Okay, the first paper should compulsorily be referenced, will be numbered as 1. So here it is reference number 3. Okay, so we go to the reference section and we'll just see. Okay, so PC Loizo, okay, speech enhancement. So this was actually her first reference. Now book references are usually given later. Okay, so If possible, she could have given this itself as the first reference, 1. Okay, so yeah. So I hope you understood. The first reference over here should be given as 1. Okay. Second reference is 2. Third reference. So here from 1 we cannot jump to 12 actually. Okay. So I think this was an earlier version before the review. So 1, after 1 it should be 2, then 3, etc. And in the reference section we give the references accordingly. Alright. I hope that is clear. Is it clear for all of you? Okay. Okay. Yes. So this is the example. Deep learning methods have been widely used for medical image classification. 1. Okay, that's at the start. So corresponding to that 1 in the reference section, you have 1. Okay, it's usually given square bracket itself, not simple brackets or any other kind. Okay, author, paper title, journal conference name, volume, number, pages, and year. Okay, then references. Avoid using only old references. Okay, sometimes people prefer old papers. That is perfectly fine. But if everything is an old reference, there's high chance of it getting rejected or at least coming in as a comment. As I mentioned, your research should be relevant. For proving the relevance, you go for latest conference or journal papers. Citing papers that are not discussed in the paper. This is something which usually happens when you copy paste or when you use AI solely for generating the paper. Excessive self citations. What is self citations? As I told you, as I told you earlier, anytime you cite someone's reference paper, okay, when we cite this person, okay, Van Khan May. Okay, when we cite it, he gets a reference, he gets an automatic notification usually, okay, saying that this person is cited. Now you can see this Haripriya, RP, Lady Rachel, and K. Gopakumar. So there is a similar paper, okay, exploring something else about this particular technology. Now, if it is relevant to this paper, it is perfectly okay to cite this. But there can be other publications. Okay, if you check, I have other publications which are not related to this. Okay, you can have some other paper. Okay, automation of sustainable practices in Kerala. If I just simply give this particular reference in that particular paper, okay, which is not at all related, which is not related to DWT based speech enhancement, then it is an example of excessive self citations. Okay, simply, okay, just for the sake of citing a paper. Okay, all those are wrong practices. They should not be done. So if if your previous paper is relevant right now, because there is a possibility that many of you are going to create a survey paper first and then an actual project based paper. In that case, if the survey paper is relevant to or is the starting point of your second paper, it is always highly advisable to refer or cite your previous paper. That should be done because the topic is related. That was what has been done here. Okay, you can see the reference section. The first reference is something related to where the person got the idea from. Okay, and this particular student has already published in another journal. Okay, so that has to be referred. Okay, otherwise that is also going to be a question because a similar paper is there, but you have not referred to it here. Okay, so that is required. But if I simply just to increase the number of citations, if an author includes unrelated papers, okay, unrelated papers written by himself or herself, that is a wrong practice. It should be avoided. References from unreliable websites. All of us are very fond of going through Wikipedia or simply going through websites, and we do not usually use those references. Okay, if it is mandatory. We have to see, or if at all we feel that this has to be given as a reference, again you have to go to Wikipedia. Below the Wikipedia entry, there will be a what there will be a list of references. Okay, so go to that, ensure that the reference is correct, because Wikipedia is also an open source community based initiative, so there can be mistakes. So we have to refer that and ensure that the reference that is given is correct, and give that particular reference in your paper, no problem. Okay, but you have to put in that much of effort in checking that every reference is a true reference. Okay, you do not simply copy paste it. Then IEEE reference checklist. Every citation in text should appear in references. Every reference is cited in the text. Numbering should be sequential. You do not jump from 1 to 12. Okay. Then format should be consistent, and format means the IEEE reference format. DOI is included if it is required by the conference or template, because DOIs sometimes are required, sometimes do not. They are not. Okay, the digital object identifier. So that's a kind of a link. So it will make your reference section long. So sometimes we just remove it, but you have to check the guidelines. If DOI is mentioned as a requirement, please include that. These are the common IEEE reference formats. Okay, so journal papers are there, conference papers, books, and websites. For websites, use only when necessary, because websites can change. Okay, so we do not usually give references. If at all, we are supposed to mention when it was accessed, month, day, year, etc. Okay, so this is not recommended. Journal papers, conference papers, and books are all very important in referencing. Summary and next steps. Okay, so start early, follow the IEEE template precisely, review the guidelines, proofread, seek feedback, visit IEEE or the resources and support pages for help. Preparation and attention to IEEE standards will maximize your paper's impact and acceptance chances. And thank you. All the very best. Okay, so time for questions. Any questions? I'm so sorry I took up so much of your time. And it's lunchtime now. Questions are required. At least one question. Please feel free to ask whatever comes to your mind. Should I stop presenting?
So I have a question.
Okay.
So നമ്മൾ ഫൈനൽ ഇയർ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ആകുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഒരു IEEE പേപ്പർ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് മാൻഡേറ്ററി ആണോ അതിന്റെ വർക്കിംഗ് ലൈക്ക് ഓൺ അതോ ഇസ് ഇറ്റ് ലൈക്ക് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ദ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ദാറ്റ് വി ഡു?
നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന എല്ലാ പ്രോജക്ട്സും അത് IEEE പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ആക്കാൻ പോസിബിൾ ആണ്.
പോസിബിലിറ്റി അല്ല. ഇപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾക്കാണെങ്കിലും ഇപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾ ചെയ്ത ലൈക്ക് മൈക്രോ പ്രോജക്റ്റിനാണെങ്കിലും ഇപ്പൊ മിനി പ്രോജക്റ്റ് വരുന്നതിനാണെങ്കിലും ഒക്കെ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് IEEE പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ആർ എന്താ ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഫാക്കൽറ്റിയുടെ അടുത്ത് നിന്ന് അവർ സജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് യു ഷുഡ് റെഫർ ഇറ്റ് ആൻഡ് വി ഹാവ് ബീൻ റെഫറിങ് ഇറ്റ് ഫോർ സം ടൈം. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് റെഫറിങ് മാത്രമല്ലാതെ വി ഹാവ് നോട്ട് ബീൻ പ്രിപ്പയറിംഗ് എനി IEEE പേപ്പേഴ്സ്. സോ ലൈക്ക് അതിന്റെ ഒരു ആവശ്യം ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ ഇപ്പം പ്ലേസ്മെന്റ്സിനാണെങ്കിലും അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ വരുമ്പോഴും അതിനൊരു പ്ലസ് പോയിന്റ് ഉണ്ടോ, അതെങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് അറിയാം.
ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി അത് പ്ലസ് പോയിന്റ് ആണ്. കാരണം നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന വർക്കിനെ തന്നെ കൂടുതൽ സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ഈ IEEE പേപ്പർ റൈറ്റിംഗ് തന്നെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന വർക്ക് ആണെങ്കിലും നമ്മൾ ഈ പേപ്പർ റൈറ്റിംഗിൽ ഇത്രയൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ചിന്തിക്കണം എന്ന് ആദ്യമേ അറിയുവാണെങ്കിൽ the way you do your project will totally change. Okay, ആ ഒരു ഡിഫറൻസ് തന്നെ വരും. ബിക്കോസ് മെത്തഡോളജി അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് എന്തൊക്കെ നോക്കണം. So you'll be like, okay, how does everyone else do it? You refer so much more. So later when you write, it becomes all the more ingrained in your mind. And അത് പബ്ലിഷ്ഡ് ആവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അത് നിങ്ങളുടെ റെസ്യൂമേക്കകത്ത് കയറ്റാം. ആൻഡ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് അത് റെസ്യൂമേയിൽ ഒന്നുമില്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇന്റർവ്യൂവറിന് എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ? ഇല്ല അല്ലേ? അപ്പം റെസ്യൂമേയിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് കാണുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും the interviewer has a chance of asking you and getting to know more about your project and all the good work that you've done. Okay, so if you write the paper, it becomes a written record of what you've done. പിന്നെ തീരെ ചെറിയൊരെണ്ണം ലൈക്ക് മൈക്രോ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ഡിപ്പെൻഡ്സ് ഓൺ യുവർ പ്രോജക്റ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ചിലർ മൈക്രോ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ഓൾറെഡി എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഒരു സംഭവം ഒന്ന് റൺ ചെയ്ത് നമ്മളെ കാണിക്കും, അതിനെ നമ്മൾ പേപ്പർ ആക്കത്തില്ല. ഓക്കെ, പക്ഷേ അതിന് പകരം നമ്മളത് ആദ്യം മേ ബി നമ്മുടെ പ്ലാൻ ആ ഒരു സാധനം ഒന്ന് റൺ ചെയ്യണമെന്നായിരിക്കും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അതിൻ്റെ ഇടയിൽ നമുക്ക് തോന്നും ഈ ഒരു സംഭവം കൂടെ ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്താൽ നല്ലതായിരിക്കുമോ, അങ്ങനെ നമ്മളത് ഇട്ടു. നമ്മളത് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്തപ്പം നിങ്ങളുടെ ടീച്ചർ പറയുന്നു, ഓ ദിസ് ഹാസ് എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് പൊട്ടൻഷ്യൽ, സോ വൈ ഡോണ്ട് യു ഗോ ഫോർ എ പ്രസന്റേഷൻ ഔട്ട്സൈഡ്. അങ്ങനെ നിങ്ങൾ പുറത്തോട്ട് പോകുന്നു, നിങ്ങൾ അവരുടെ വേറെ ആരുടെയെങ്കിലും മുമ്പിൽ അത് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അവർ കുറേ സജഷൻസ് തരുന്നു, നിങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങളുടെ വർക്കിനെ കുറച്ചും കൂടെ മോഡിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നു. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു മൈക്രോ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് വെച്ച് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കുറച്ചും കൂടി ഒരു വലിയൊരു സംഭവമായി. അതിനെ അപ്പം പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാനാണെങ്കിൽ വി ഡു നോട്ട് ഇമ്മീഡിയറ്റ്ലി റൈറ്റ്, ഓക്കെ, വി ഫയൽ വി ഹാവ് ടു ഫയൽ ഫോർ എ പേറ്റന്റ്. ഒരു ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ നമ്മളൊന്ന് ഇട്ടിട്ട്, ഓക്കെ, അതിനുള്ള പോസിബിലിറ്റി എല്ലാം നോക്കി അത് പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ആണെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഫയലിംഗ് ഫോർ എ പേറ്റന്റ് ഇനിഷ്യൽ, ഓക്കെ, അത് നമ്മളൊന്ന് ചെയ്തിട്ട് പിന്നെ പബ്ലിക്കേഷന് വേണ്ടി നമുക്ക് പോകാം. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പം അത് വേറൊരു രീതിയിലായിരിക്കും. പക്ഷേ publication is something that all of us can do, okay, and it is very much possible for all of us. ഭയങ്കര വർക്ക് ആവണമെന്നില്ല, ഓക്കെ, ജസ്റ്റ് ഏറ്റവും ബേസിക് വർക്ക് ആണെങ്കിൽ അതിന് പബ്ലിക്കേഷനൊന്നും പോകണ്ട. പക്ഷേ ഒരു മിനി പ്രോജക്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൈക്രോ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് which has grown or in which you have put in a little bit of നിങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു നല്ലൊരു കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ അതിനെ ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അതിനെ ഒരു പേപ്പർ ആക്കുന്നത് എന്തുകൊണ്ടും അഡ്വൈസബിൾ ആണ്. ഓക്കെ, ഫൈനൽ ഇയറിൽ മിക്കവാറും പ്രോജക്ട്സ് എല്ലാം അത് മാൻഡറ്ററി ആയിട്ട് പറയും. നിങ്ങളുടെ സീനിയേഴ്സിനോട് ചോദിച്ചാൽ അവർ പറയും. മേ ബി മാൻഡറ്ററി എന്ന് പറയില്ല, പക്ഷെ അതിനെല്ലാം പോയിന്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്, അതിനെല്ലാം മാർക്സ് ഉണ്ട്. നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ഫൈനലി അതിന് നമുക്ക് നല്ല പ്രോജക്ട്സിനെല്ലാം നമ്മൾ ബെസ്റ്റ് ഗ്രേഡാണ് നമ്മൾ എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് ഫോർ ഗെറ്റിംഗ് ദ ബെസ്റ്റ് ഗ്രേഡ് ഇതെല്ലാം നമുക്ക് മാർക്സ് ആയിട്ട് തന്നെ കൺവേർട്ട് ആവും. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഫൈനൽ ഇയറിൽ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ഒരു IEEE പേപ്പർ എഴുതുന്നതിനേക്കാളും നിങ്ങളിപ്പം കുറച്ച് നോവൽറ്റി ഉള്ള വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി യു ക്യാൻ ഗോ ഫോർ an IEEE പേപ്പർ റൈറ്റിംഗ്, IEEE പേപ്പർ റൈറ്റിംഗ് ആൻഡ് സബ്മിഷൻ ആൻഡ് പ്രസൻറ്റേഷൻ ഓൾസോ. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പം പ്രസൻറ്റും കൂടെ ചെയ്താലേ ഈ IEEE കോൺഫറൻസ് പേപ്പേഴ്സ് പബ്ലിഷ്ഡ് ആവത്തുള്ളൂ ഫൈനലി. ഓക്കെ, സോ എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടും നമ്മളെ കൊണ്ട് ഇച്ചിരി പണി ചെയ്യിപ്പിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഈ ഒരു സെമസ്റ്ററിൽ, ഓക്കെ, ലൈക്ക് യുവർ തേർഡ് ഇയർ, സോ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി അത് ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ ആയിരിക്കുമെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു.
താങ്ക് യു മിസ്സേ.
ഓക്കെ, ഓക്കെ, അതർ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്ത് ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാം, ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ അവൈലബിളാണ്. പിന്നെ നിങ്ങളുടെ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ്, ഡയന മാം ഉണ്ട്, വേറെ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് എല്ലാം ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പം ആരോടാണെങ്കിലും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡൗട്ട്സ് ഉള്ളതെല്ലാം ചോദിക്കാം. വേറെ റെഫറൻസസോ അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കാം, ഇപ്പൊ തന്നെ ചോദിച്ചോ, നോ പ്രോബ്ലം. ഫൈനൽ ഇയർ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡൗട്ടൊന്നും ഇല്ല? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയാണ് ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ തുടക്കത്തിൽ ഒരു വർഷം മുമ്പ് തൊട്ട് CSIയിലെ നിരഞ്ജ്, വേദ എല്ലാവരും എന്നോട് കുറേ നാളായിട്ട് ചോദിക്കുന്നതാണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡൗട്ട്സ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ല? ഇപ്പൊ എല്ലാവരും ഡൗട്ട്സ് ഒക്കെ ക്ലിയർ ആയോ? Okay, so I think everybody is okay. When writing non-technical papers, what do you have to keep in mind now? Like for example, AI ethics or governance. Okay, so you mean AI ethics or governance? Ethics related ആയിട്ടുള്ള വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും അല്ലേ? അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ IEEE പേപ്പറിലാണ് നോക്കുന്നതെങ്കിൽ, okay, above, yeah, if you're looking at an IEEE paper, then a little bit of technical content has to be there. Okay, it cannot be a purely non-tech paper. Okay, so you will have to do a search, okay, and go for conferences or journals where ഇതുപോലത്തെ നോൺ ടെക്നിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പേപ്പേഴ്സ്, ലൈക്ക് മേ ബി ലീഗൽ, അതിൻ്റെ ലീഗൽ ആസ്പെക്ട്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിൻ്റെ ഗവർണൻസ് റിലേറ്റഡ്, there are other conferences also and other journals also നമ്മുടെ എല്ലാം കുറച്ച് SCI എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സയൻസ് സൈറ്റേഷൻ ഇൻഡെക്സ് ഓർ സ്കോപ്പസ് is something which is very wide. Okay, it is very wide and it covers a lot of areas, not only engineering. Okay, so the presentation that I made, ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ presentation എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ കൂടുതലും എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ളതാണ്. Your question is like related to non-technical papers, AI ethics and governance. It will not come directly under our area. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പം നമ്മൾ വേറെ കുറച്ച് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും, ഏറ്റവും റെലവെൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളത് എടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും. ഓക്കെ, it comes under the social, okay, SSCI or other indexes are there or indices are there. Okay, social citation എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ. Others? Okay, so I think everyone will be very hungry right now. I think it's time for us to wind up.
All right. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our dear Lanimis for taking up a lot of her time, spending it with us, explaining all the details about how can we write an IEEE paper, like in very detail, from the title to all the citations, the structure, how can we research and all that. Thank you so much, Lanimis. I would also like to thank Dynamis for providing us the technical support. The meeting really went very smoothly. And last but not least, I would like to thank all the participants. You guys were a little bit more, engaging than I thought. It can be a little bit more the next time. You guys can participate a bit more and engage with the faculty. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.